and the girlfriend brings heroin to him. You hear this in an electric toothbrush. This guy is really strung out. He shouldn't be in his father's apartment. He needs treatment, just as the Obama administration needs a haircut, and they're getting it from the American people. They're egotistical, they are narcissistic, they are dictatorial, and they're getting the haircut that is long overdue, and they're getting it not from the unions, but from the American people.
Savage. Michael Savage.
Afternoons 3 to 7.
On Talk 910 KNEW.
And online at 910knew.com.
Coming up next, from San Fran Freak Show, The Savage Nation. From Talk 910 KNEW.
Hi there, we are Armstrong and Getty. We're on every morning 6 to 10 here on 910 KNEW, or download the podcast and listen anytime at 910knew.com.
Warning. The Michael Savage Show contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation. Here is Michael Savage.
Jeffrey Kuhne from the Washington Times, filling in for the living legend Michael Savage for the final hour of the Savage Nation. Welcome one and all. Michael, I just want to thank you once again, my friend, for the incredible honor and privilege to just sit in here, fill in your massive, massive shoes. You are incredibly, not only are you a brilliant man, but you are a very generous man. And I want to thank you so much. It is always such an honor and a privilege to fill in for you. I have to tell you, Michael, I cannot tell you with how much pride and how much honor I do this every time. You truly are an absolute legend. And I have to tell you, the last 2 hours has been some of the best that I've ever heard in terms of analysis on the healthcare issue in this country. You put your rivals to shame, as you do on most other issues. My friends, we've talked a lot about healthcare, and if you want to talk a little bit more about it, the phone line is 1-800-449-8255. But before we get to healthcare, there is another very, very important issue that I think all of you will be very interested in, and that is the continuing assault by the British government on Michael Savage and on the Savage Nation. Just yesterday, a major article came out in WorldNet Daily. You can go to michaelsavage.com to read it. It is an absolutely chilling piece. You want to talk about the left-wing socialist revolution and what these fascists have in store for all of us. Take a look at this piece. As many of you know, Michael has been engaged in a lawsuit with the British government, desperately trying to get himself off the ban list. He has been banned from entering the United Kingdom, and what was his crime? Is that he speaks truth to power. That as a radio talk show host, one of the most powerful and influential in this country, he speaks his mind, as you all know, on a regular basis. For that crime, the British government has now put him on a least wanted list alongside the leaders of Hamas, neo-Nazi Russian skinheads, literally followers of Adolf Hitler, known terrorists, and known jihadists. In other words, murderers and criminals. And so Michael, through his lawyers in the United Kingdom, has been waging a brave, courageous lawsuit to defend freedom of speech and freedom of the press. Well, today, the British government gave at least part of their answer. In a shocking letter, the British government has asked Michael Savage that the only way the ban can be lifted off of him from entering the country is if he, quote, repudiates and, quote, renounces his views. In other words, as they said in the letter, any such repudiation must be genuine and comprehensive. and persuade my client that this is a true shift of position, in which case my client would be prepared to consider this. Now, the letter was signed only by the Treasury solicitors. It's clearly a formal letter. It comes from the government in the United Kingdom. Who the client is, we assume it's Jackie Smith, the Home Secretary, former Home Secretary, who put Savage on the list and who is the one that Michael is suing, along with the British government. Yet here is the issue, and this is the part to me that is absolutely shocking and amazing. What does Savage have to repudiate? What does Savage have to renounce? The argument that the British government keeps making over and over again to justify this fraud of a list, this sham of a ban, is that somehow Michael's words, that Savage's words, incite and provoke violence and inter-community tensions. In other words, that his actions justify, as the letter says, the killing of Muslims. Now, question number one. When has Michael Savage ever called for the killing or murder of Muslims? And this is what is shocking. As the lawsuit has continued, as we have dug deeper and deeper and deeper into the truth of this matter, we have found out that the corruption, that the complicity in this attempt to ban Savage and to destroy freedom of speech and freedom of expression goes all the way up to the highest chains of the British government. This implicates Gordon Brown, the Prime Minister, and his Foreign Secretary, because apparently draft emails now confirm that they signed off on the decision. This is, number one, a major scandal. But number two, a researcher in that very same email exchange, a British researcher who works for the government, says we have no evidence that he has ever incited or provoked violence. And of course, if you listen to the show and if you listen to Michael Savage, he has never called for the murder or the extermination or the killing of Muslims. He's never called for the killing of one Muslim, never mind many Muslims. So the entire charge is a complete fraud. It is a sham. And so the question that Michael's lawyers are asking is an obvious one. Why should we repudiate anything? We have nothing to repudiate. You are alleging ideas and motives and hatreds that we don't have. You have completely fabricated and made up this case. And at the core of this case is the attempt, as Michael has rightly pointed out, for, quote, balance, fairness. That somehow you have too many Muslim extremists and Muslim terrorists on the list. So let's get one white Jewish guy to offset them off, to balance it all out. And so Michael Savage has now become a scapegoat. Now, the debate is this, and I believe this is the question that if I had Jackie Smith under oath, I would like to ask her. Why? Why Michael Savage? Why not, I don't know, any of the other talk radio hosts in this country? If you have to go after a conservative, if you have to go after a white male, why? So was his name just picked randomly out of a hat? Was false information or information given out of context given to the British government by people who oppose Savage? In particular, many people at the Council on American Islamic Relations who have been declaring and running a jihad, an intellectual and political jihad against Savage for many years, trying to get him boycotted and thrown off the air? Or is the issue a more demonic and satanic one? Is the issue that Michael Savage is Jewish? And that, in fact, he is the only top 5 radio personality in this country who, in fact, is Jewish? And is the ugly strain of anti-Semitism rearing its ugly head in England? Because, my friends, there is no doubt about it. Over the last 10 years, and especially the attacks of 9/11, anti-Semitism and hatred of the Jews is growing and metastasizing like a cancer all across Europe. You see it in France, you see it in Germany, and you are increasingly see it in England. When I have gone to England, I have been shocked, in fact, horrified, at the virulent anti-Semitism, the hatred of Israel, the hatred of the United States that is openly propounded by jihadist and radical Muslim clerics across East London. They are openly calling for holy war and jihad, for the murders of Christians and Jews. And they're not just saying it in their mosques. They are saying it on the streets of London in protests after protests. And my friends, let me just tell you the kind of evil that we're up against. This is a personal story.